Okay, how's it going, guys? A new bike day. Now, I'm not going to do a full review because I don't think I'm qualified. I'm really out of date on mountain bike technology. This is my first e-bike, and I've not bought a new mountain bike since the days of the 26-inch wheels and front mech and all the rest of it. My last bike was a Giant Trance 2, a very old one. I do get out on bikes quite a bit, but yeah, I'm not into the tech. So this is a little bit of a look at my Nukeproof Megawatt Comp, which is this is my first test ride today. So it's really, for me, just getting used to having a motor and having no front mech and having a dropper post and having a whole bunch of other things, because yeah, I'm pretty old school on my knowledge of mountain bike tech. So let's take it for a quick ride, and I'll talk you more through my thoughts. Absolutely stunning day here in Cornwall, as you can see. Okay, hopefully you can hear me on the GoPro. Didn't bring a mic today, so yeah, first thing obviously I've got to get used to is having a little screen, and we've got a button over here for going through the modes, the power modes. So you've got off, eco, trail and boost. I've mostly been riding in trail, but I've been testing out a little bit in all the different modes, obviously. Let's tootle along. I don't actually remember what this bit of coastline's like, but it's very pretty, so I'm not going to complain too much. Hopefully you can hear me because it is a little bit breezy. My first thoughts is I absolutely love it. Just having a 29-inch front wheel seems gigantic to me, coming from the days of the 26. And this is a mullet bike, so that means it's got a smaller wheel on the back than it does on the front. So it's got 27.5 on the back and a 29 on the front, which kind of makes sense. Most of my riding over the last couple of years has been on motorbikes. Most of my recent experience has been on a KTM Enduro 350, and obviously all the kind of dual sports and off-road bikes, they've always got a bigger 21 front wheel compared to an 18 back, with obviously a great big chunky tyre. So it makes sense to me to have a kind of a mullet style bike for off-road. Front wheel rolls over stuff easier, and the back wheel just a little bit more out the way, so the bike geometry doesn't have to get too long by having two 29s. But either way, this feels like a bit of a beast to me, to be honest with you. Coming from what I'm used to, I probably need to slow down so you can hear me. So just getting used to the whole e-bike thing. I love it. I already love it. This is my first ride, but I already love it. But I have to say straight away, in the UK we're limited to 16.5 miles an hour, and then it stops assisting. Now I can already tell you that is not going to be enough for me. I'm going to have to get one of those de-restricting dongles. This gate closing? No, it's not. Let's close the gate. I'm going to have to get one of those de-restricting dongles and take it to some private places off-road, so I can really enjoy the motor, because 16.5 miles an hour is just not enough. I think in America it's 20 miles an hour, I believe. Well, different states probably differs in different states, but anyway, in Europe it's 16.5 miles an hour, and then it stops assisting. I think it's about like 22 kilometers per hour, something like that. And yeah, that's just not enough. I mean, I'm used to my e-skateboard, where I'm flying around at sort of 25 miles an hour most of the time on a blade skateboard. So I mean, obviously you can cycle faster than the 16.5, but you hit this 16.5 mile an hour sort of limit, and all of a sudden the bike goes from feeling like this nimble little light thing to a big heavy lump, unless you're going down a big steep hill, obviously. So yeah, my first thoughts are, I can understand why a big proportion of e-bike riders do restrict their bikes, because in the UK at least, because yeah, the bike suddenly feels heavy as soon as you hit that 16.5 mile an hour, 17 mile an hour limit. The bike suddenly feels like a big heavy beast, which is unfortunate. But it's very odd how going up hills feels about the same as going on the flat. I'm still getting my head around that. I'm so used to gearing down coming up to the hills and, you know, building up a bit of speed at the bottom of the hill so I can kind of carry some momentum up, but all of a sudden on this thing you just don't need to. It just motors you up, and it's yeah, it's an absolute delight. In terms of the suspension, obviously it's my first little tootle around today. I'm not going to be doing any jumps or anything particularly that's going to test the suspension, but it's much firmer and more solid than I was expecting. I was expecting it to be quite plush, but it really is very, very firm, which obviously is designed to take some quite big hits without bottoming out, and, you know, have plenty of a bit of a lump there, have plenty of travel. I think it's 170 front and back. I think I did do a fair bit of research before ordering this, but I'm gonna go this way. I'll go this way and enjoy the view. What was I saying? Lots of walkers out today, so don't want to talk to myself around the walkers. Yeah, so I'm not going to have to test the suspension today, but the dropper seat post seems to work. I mean, that's a brand new thing for me. It's kind of crazy how out of date I am. I've become a bit of a mountain bike Luddite. The last bike I bought was a Cannondale gravel bike, or sorry, cyclocross bike I should say, and that was a few years ago, so yeah, I'm very, very out of date. Dropper seat post seems to do its job quite nicely. Obviously I'm not going down any big hills at the moment, so I just don't need to use it. Back it back up again. But it's very intuitive. So it arrived, so I didn't get it set up for me. It arrived in the box, and I was surprised that it was very, very assembled and ready to go pretty much. I just had to put the handlebars on, which I've just realised I've not straightened the headset yet. It's ever so slightly off. I did check the tyre pressure at least. But yeah, so it arrived pretty much as is, just with the handlebars removed and no pedals. It does actually come with pedals, by the way. I didn't expect it to, but it does come with some basic pedals. But I brought some nice Nukeproof half decent ones for about 20 quid. Prices are insane at the moment because the company Nukeproof and the sort of parent company or whatever it is, I don't know all the ins and outs, but from what I understand, it's going into receivership, so they're selling stock like nobody's business, and some bikes are about, you know, 50% off, 45% off, so prices are really, really good at the moment. So if you're thinking about getting one of these, probably get one sooner rather than later. I've been told that they'll honour the warranty, and obviously the battery and the motor Shimano will be a separate warranty anyway. So I don't think there's too much risk, but obviously bear it in mind it's a company that's going to be not there for very much longer, so think carefully about that. I decided it was worth the risk considering the savings were so big. What else was I going to say? Oh yeah, so the only thing that was a little bit confusing, so plugged it in, charged it for a few hours, then the bike wouldn't turn on. Very simple solution, but it's a bit worrying when you're buying a bike and, you know, you're not sure, you've never had an e-bike before and all the rest of it. But what you actually have to do is you have to unscrew these three Allen key there, take the battery out, and you have to turn the battery on and then put it back in. Otherwise the on button on the bike doesn't work. I was presuming something was wrong with my bike when I first tried to start it, and it wouldn't turn on, and there was no lights, no nothing. So that's worth knowing, because it doesn't tell you any of that in the manual or anywhere. I couldn't find that information, so I was presuming there was a fault because nothing was turning on no matter how long I was pressing the power button. Anyway, so yeah, you got to take the battery out and turn it on and put it back in when you first get the bike. But yeah, no, I'm absolutely loving it so far. It's already getting a nice coating. I've been down a couple of sort of little muddy rivers and up some muddy rivers, and it's really fun that the uphills are just as fun as the downhills. I'm so not used to that, you know. Obviously on a motorbike it's a completely different deal, but when I'm on a mountain bike I'm so used to not going down anything that I don't want to pedal back up again often. But yeah, I've not even taken off the plastic from the logos and the screens and things. I've just left it all, you know, out the box. Like I said, my first test ride today. But yeah, so overall comments is that I'm absolutely loving it, but I will definitely be looking into de-restricting it. I think in an ideal world I'll get a de-restricting dongle which you can remove and then put back on again easily, so that if I'm riding on the roads I can make it legal. But then if I go, you know, to some of the private sort of like Woodies and, you know, the bike parks where they don't mind if the bike's not strictly legal. I'll look into that. I haven't looked into that yet, but either way, I'm definitely going to look into de-restricting it, because it's yeah, 16.5 miles an hour is just, oh, it's just not worth carrying all this big heavy extra weight, because I think it's about 25 kilograms, which, coming from, you know, the last 2 years I've been riding around my KTM 350, which is about 125 kilograms. You know, 25 kilograms is nothing, but compare it to a regular mountain bike and you really do feel it when you're, like, you know, maneuvering it, trying to pick it up, put it on the roof of a car or just get it down an alleyway or something like that. It's got quite a small lockout, actually, I've just noticed as well. That's as far as you can turn the well, it makes sense because there's a lot of cableage and stuff here, but I'm kind of used to sort of spinning the bars, you know, to here to like quickly maneuver it around, whereas you have to do a much bigger circle with this, or obviously you just pop it up on its back wheel. Anyway, I'm going to continue with my riding. Very impromptu little look at my new bike. I've not set up the suspension at all, but I know you've got adjustments here, adjustments down there, and obviously I need to set up the sag and the pressure, so I haven't done any of that yet. But as I'm just tootling around at the moment, getting used to an e-bike, I don't think it matters too much. Brakes feel good. The Maxxis tyres, they're gripping in this muddy, slippy stuff nicely, so no complaints there. Seat's pretty comfortable. Handlebars are very wide. I've already, I'm sort of used to slightly narrower, so I've already gone like down a few alleyways and between a couple of trees, and I'm like, bloody hell, I think I might need to trim them in a bit. Yep. But it does make you feel very, very planted. I went for a medium, by the way. I was advised to get a large, even though I'm only about 5'7", 5'8". I was advised by my friends that know a lot more about mountain bikes than me to get a large, which I can sort of understand what they were saying, because the cockpit and the reach does seem quite small. But I think it's fine. I think it's absolutely fine. But, you know, like I said, I've not set the bike up properly for myself yet. Anyway, but the reach does feel quite shorter than I was expecting, considering the bike is overall very long, with a huge electric front wheel reaching out in front of you and everything, with a fairly slack head angle. The actual stem is very short. There's obviously, you know, more designed for going downhill, so it's a bit more tucked into you, which again I'm not used to because I've never had a downhill bike. But anyway, I'm gonna just toot down this hill, and yeah, hope this was interesting. I'll keep you updated as I get a bit more used to my bike, and I might even do a proper review and I learn a bit more about it. Don't know where I'm going. What a fantastic day to be in Cornwall. Anyway guys, I'll see you later.